Welcome back to Wayne TV. It is time for our check-in with our good friends from the United Way of Wayne County. How are y'all doing?
We're good. We're kind of catching
Really?
up, of course, on our weekend, but it was crazy busy, and it's hard to believe that it's time to be back here again.
We're like right in the throes of the campaign right now.
We are. We are in the middle of the campaign and running all over the county. It
Yeah.
is so fun.
That's all you
So
say
fun.
that. You say that like you're like it's so fun. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm sure it is. You guys got a fun job though, because you get to see just about every
Oh
aspect
my
of Wayne
goodness.
County.
We really do. And the schools, I mean, we've been, schools across the county. We met this morning, our team, and of course Bethany's leading that effort for us for campaign. And so our board is hilarious. The whole wall is covered in sheets of major investors. And so when you've got about 35 schools that you're working with, and you've got the county and the city and the hospital and 60 major investors, the board is full.
Yeah.
And so we're just kind of looking at each one. Who have we hit? Who do we need to talk to? Who are we still trying to get through to?
Who do we need to follow up with,
Yeah.
pick up,
Yeah.
drop off? It's a great effort throughout the entire campaign season, but it really does allow us to be intentional and personal with each one. We've been able to speak to all the city departments, most of the county departments. We've been to the fire departments and the police departments and all those shifts and solid waste. And like she said, all the schools, most of the schools are participating. And so it has been wonderful. We get to share stories, success stories of how investments are really changing lives in our community. A lot of people want to know where their money is going year after
course.
year. How do you know my dollar is making a difference? Well, let me tell you about Zach, and let me tell you about Nina, and let me tell you about Jane, and all these stories that have been impacted from adult literacy to homelessness to tutoring in the schools to emergency assistance. We're sharing these stories so that people know that these things are happening in our community. We know that there are needs in our community. We cannot fund these programs without citizens' investments to the campaign year after year. So it really is special this year to share good news and success stories. So I'm happy to report that we're at 49% of meeting our goal of $850,000. So we still have several weeks to go, and there is still time to invest in the campaign.
Yeah, and I think it's also important because there's probably a lot of people who give and have no clue what all they are, so I think that's probably a good idea, is that they get to hear those stories, but then they also learn like, oh, this is funded by United Way, because there is so many things that are funded by United Way that I think a lot of people probably don't understand.
We've been very transparent about the programs specifically, how we're filling in the gaps of these programs, recognizing that some monies come from the state, but what we're doing is standing in the gap to make sure that these are possible, this specific program, and what we're doing. But I think it's also important to educate the citizens. They have no idea how long we've been in this community. And so when we ask them that question, people might not have been here in this community a long time. And so they'll say, well, I think United Way of Wayne County has been here 20 years or 30 years. We've been here 98 years. And I always say in our presentation that says a lot about our organization.
Absolutely.
But it says a lot more about our community. And it says these needs matter, you matter, and we want to sustain these programs for another 100 years. So
yeah, it's not a fly-by-night little nonprofit. It's a vetted nonprofit that's been around for years and helps so many people, and you hope that you never need that help, right? But there really is, there's a need, and there are so many resources that are helped out by the United Way, and you guys really are tackling, I'm thinking, you going through that list, it's like all the major employers in our county, even the city, the county, the hospital, you guys are, do y'all ever tally up how many people you've spoken to in a year?
we do.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Our presentations last year were over 180.
That's nuts.
presentations. So you've seen our presentations. We try to make them concise and brief because we're running.
Yeah.
But really, we recognize it's such a pleasure to come into the place of employment for so many. But we know that they are, they have tasks. There are things they're working
And
on.
their attention spans, like
You want to
That's
make
how
sure that
mine
you're
is.
giving them, mine for sure, because we're moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that they know where their investment's going, and that's really how we're sharing the message as we're going around. We're here to tell you the stories that we're hearing because it's important, and that's why you're giving, and that's why you're investing in your community through United Way. So yes, we typically at the end of the year we go back and because our calendar is full, Savannah is keeping track of where we are every minute of the day, and so we go back and look and see how many presentations are being done, and we could not do it without volunteers. We have amazing volunteers. Joy Allen is with the county, and so she is helping us to coordinate because when you're working with, let's say, the county and you have 18 plus departments, we're going to each department because it's so important for us to have that, smaller group feel that if they have questions they can ask, and they probably will ask more so than if you have a room full of 500 people. So it's just a great opportunity, and it gives us those connections that we can make sure that we're sharing the message and making future connections. We're definitely seeing how the more we're able to do this, when there is an issue or a concern, that even if it's not part of the vetted programs that we're working through, there are issues in our community that we are able to help bring people together. A good example, I think, of that is the Reentry Council through Wayne Community College. Is doing some amazing work, and they recognize we have a huge need for housing. And so we've been talking about this, and we've been talking about this. And so in partnership with them, we are putting a meeting together to kind of the initial meeting will be coming together with our vendors that are actually providing the housing. And then we'll be branching out a little bit to those resources that are out there that are working closely with those needs. But that's kind of where we come into play, not just, these vetted programs are so important, we want to sustain them, but we also know that, when there are issues in our community, relying on United Way means that we can work together to find solutions.
And that's what I love. We talk about it. COVID was another great example where you guys really stepped up to the bar and did a whole lot of work in the community with community health workers. Reentry Council is just another example. And that's what I think is so important. You're not just set in the ways of, United Way is like always one of the first calls that we make. Like, let's see if they know somebody, because you guys really are that, like, I don't know, that's like the glue that holds everything together. And I think that's so important because the needs change.
They do.
And you've got to be able to pivot, and you guys have a very good track record of doing that.
And we're constantly looking too, as we're sharing our presentation, we're also talking about 211 and the initiative there, and that is available for every citizen in our community to dial 211 at any time if they have a health and human service need, so that they can be referred to the organizations right here in our county. But then we can track that data and we can pivot. We might think it's homelessness because we see it. But because of all the calls that come in, it might be something so different. So we're able to focus on those needs, rent and utility assistance, ESL, elderly care. Those are all big concerns in our community too.
So we are we at the halfway point for the campaign yet? We are at the halfway point?
We are.
Okay.
Right at it.
Oh, really? Right at it?
Yes.
Cool. So you've got half the amount of time. I don't know. How long is the campaign? I should know this.
It actually, December the 5th is our finale, but we go through the end of the year.
Okay.
So there'll
do.
still
You've
be
got through the end
donations
of the
and
year.
investments coming in.
And if you are not a part of a major employer or anything like that that has a program, you can always just reach
Yeah.
out to the United Way. They'll be glad to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Anything else that you guys would like to talk about campaign-wise, or anything else?
Well, if folks want to get on our mailing list to receive a letter and a brochure, or
Yeah.
check out our website, of course, unitedwayne.org, there is opportunity to invest online. But we're sending out hundreds of letters to individuals that have partnered with us in the past that will continue to do that. But if they want to be on the mailing list, they can call the office as well, and we'll get them connected with information on how they can help, maybe not only an investment, but volunteer-wise as well.
Yeah.
So
There's plenty of those opportunities too.
Absolutely.
absolutely, we are triple booked this afternoon. We're going to three schools,
schools.
and then we're going to meet at another one in an hour and a half time frame.
I don't know how
so
y'all do it.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
That's what we have to
And
do.
lots of coffee, I assume, or
Yes.
something. Yeah. UnitedWayne.org is the website. You can find them on Facebook. If you need the phone number, anything like that, it's on the website. You can Google it too. If you're like me, like most people, you just Google United Way Wayne County. But UnitedWayne.org is the website. And ladies, thank y'all so much
Thank
for what
you.
you do.
Thank you.
And go check them out. Follow them on Facebook. And we'll see you again next time.